Casey buddies, Nye here. Today we're going to be watching Five Nights at Freddy's lore explained in 15 minutes. I am not caught up on the lore, so I'm really excited to get into this. Ready to dive in? Please don't forget to subscribe. It helps out the channel a whole lot. Let's go! You know, I used to be really freaked out by like the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese when I was younger.
Here's the entire FNAF lore in
They used to freak
15
me out really
minutes.
bad.
Buckle up because here we go. Our story starts in the late 1970s to early 1980s with two men, William Afton and Henry Emily. Together, they founded Fredbear's Family Diner, a small pizzeria featuring two animatronic mascots, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. Now, these weren't just robots. They were spring-lock technology, allowing them to function as both an animatronic and a wearable suit.
From?
But we know now this is a terrible idea. These suits were fragile. One wrong move and the lock snapped shut, crushing anything or anyone inside. And they weren't the only danger lurking in this place. One night, Henry Emily's daughter, Charlotte, aka Charlie, was locked outside the pizzeria. And in the darkness, William Afton was waiting. You see, he was a killer. And that's exactly what he did. He killed her. Just like that. But her story wasn't over.
Yikes.
Because Henry had built something inside the diner, a security animatronic called the Puppet. And that night, Charlie's soul merged with the Puppet, creating the first haunted animatronic. This was just the beginning of Afton's horrific legacy. You see, the thing is, Afton grew more bold.
Oh, they made him so creepy.
Established Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, he used a yellow Spring Bonnie suit to lure 5 children into the back room. One by one, he murdered them, leaving no trace, except for the blood-stained But as we know now, the past doesn't stay buried. Soon after, the animatronics began acting strangely. That's because the children's souls had possessed them.
The animatronics act strangely at night.
And the one who remained broken, Golden Freddy, the forever vengeful spirit. And in case you forgot, that's why he always says it's me. Now, shockingly enough, literally, this was William's plan from the entire time.
I have to play the newer games
where children would fit perfectly inside of these animatronic suits, hoping to kill them and hide all the evidence inside of these where no one would ever see it coming. However, thanks to the Puppet, these children were able to live a new life. However, their spirits were going to be trapped inside of these things forever. Which makes you wonder, why would William even do such a thing? Didn't he have children of his own? Yes, he did. And this is where things get weird. While all this horror was unfolding, I didn't know that. Afton had his own family. His youngest son, the crying child, aka Evan, was terrified of the animatronics, and for good reason. And his older brother, the one we call Michael Afton, or the kid with the foxy mask, bullied him relentlessly, scaring him with a foxy mask, and then one day, the nightmare became real. At his birthday, Michael and his friends took it too far. They forced him into Fredbear's jaws.
Dude!
Then, the animatronic spring locks failed, and then Crunch, the ultimate prank.
No!
You just got your brother's head removed from his body. And this was known as the bite of 83. The boy didn't survive, obviously, but his torment, it never ended. He was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, haunted by monstrous versions of the very thing that killed him, until he finally faded away. Thus, the nightmare animatronics in FNAF 4, but that's for later. Moving on with the story, with his son dead and the haunted animatronics growing restless, Afton tried to fight back. He returned to Freddy's to destroy the possessed robots. As he laughed at his victory, he made one fatal mistake. He decided for whatever reason to hide inside the Spring Bonnie suit, thinking he had outsmarted the ghost, but the spring locks failed, and in an instant, his body was crushed inside of the suit.
Doom.
And of course, he became trapped inside,
destroyed by his own design,
unable to move on. And so, Springtrap was born. But let me tell you, this man is so crazy that he actually found a way to live on forever, or at least so he thought. When Freddy Fazbear's Pizza shuts down, William comes up with a great idea. He made a business called Afton Robotics, and this is all about killing children. Now, the reason he wanted to kill the children is because they have Remnant. Now, Remnant is the term for physical manifestation of memories infused with and possessing.
Okay, this is so much deeper than I thought.
A driving force behind the paranormal occurrences in the animatronics, besides the spirits themselves. AKA, he was going to kill kids, take the Remnant, and then use it to live on forever. And this is exactly how all the children and Charlie were able to possess an animatronic. And this man is so horrific that he decided to come up with Circus Baby, an animatronic specifically used to lure children in, with games, toys,
okay, but weren't they all kind of
and with no evidence at that, as she would literally crush them, suck them into her stomach, and they'll never be found again. Now, let me introduce you a new character, Elizabeth Afton, the daughter of William Afton and the sister of Michael Afton, and would have been Evan, but his head got ripped off, who trusted her father and held a deep fascination with these creatures. and especially
was she the one
Circus
from the
Baby,
movie?
until the machine captured her and killed her, which allowed Elizabeth to possess it.
Probably
and because
not.
Of this, the Circus Baby's Pizza World gets closed down, and they report it as gas leaks being the reason. But the only gas coming out of this place is the stench coming out of Elizabeth's body, reeking from Circus Baby. And
But
this is where you would think all this would
how
end.
did they get the
However,
money to
William
cover
decided
it
to leave
up?
all the animatronics open for rental. And that's where the set of Sister
Someone
Location
has to be
takes
covering
place,
it
as
up.
Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals. Now, you play as Michael Afton. Yes, William Afton's son, who takes the
that
job
the
here
bite
for
of
one reason, to
87?
find someone. But he doesn't realize he's walking into a trap just yet. The facility is home to 4 main animatronics, each one more terrifying than the last. Circus Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, equipped with Bonbon as the hand puppet, and Funtime Foxy. But the focus is on Circus
I think
Baby.
Funtime
as we
Foxy
know
is like
she's
my
been taken
favorite
over by someone we
design
know,
of all of
and
them.
that's Elizabeth Afton, obviously Michael's sister. And let's just say she has a plan. But Michael, he has no idea what's coming for him. Michael spends 5 nights trying to survive the horrors of the facility, guided by Baby's voice, but everything is a setup. On night 2, he's forced to fix Funtime Freddy, while avoiding Bonbon's deadly jump scares. Night 3, he sneaks past Ballora, staying silent so she doesn't hear him. And around night 4,
Ooh,
that's when things start to
that's
get really
freaky.
weird, as he literally wakes up inside of a spring-lock suit, trapped as mini Renas try to kill him. Then finally, night 5, he reaches the scooping room, and
Wait,
that's
what
when the
game
truth
is
is revealed.
this?
You see, the scooping room is where broken animatronics are torn apart from the inside.
I'm sure he
But
said.
tonight, it's not for the animatronics. It's for Michael. All along, Baby had a plan to escape, but she couldn't do it
What's
alone.
5?
So she tricked Michael into coming here. Every animatronic in the facility had already been melted down and fused together into one monstrous being. And that was Ennard. And that's right, you guessed
Ew!
it, they needed a human body. So they scoop Michael's insides out and crawl inside of his skin. Pretty terrifying, right?
What the
And believe it or
heck?
not, at first it worked. Ennard walked out disguised as Michael, but his body started to rot away, and the animatronic pieces had to escape. And so, Ennard decided to jump into the sewer like he was it, leaving what was left of Michael's body rotting on the
Hello?
sidewalk. And yet, just as FNAF does, Michael somehow didn't die. He stood back up, and his skin was purple, his eyes were glowing, and with one goal in mind, he muttered, "Father, I will find you." Because now, Michael Afton is going to be hunting his own father. Speaking of his father, whatever happened to him? Well, it's been 30 years since the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza closed, and the urban legends, the ghost stories, they've become nothing more than myths. But then, someone decided to turn those stories into a real-life horror attraction, thus for opening a place called Fazbear Frights. And you see, the idea was genius. Recreate the terrifying mystery of Freddy's, and then use the old props and salvaged items for the abandoned location. But on night 2, they found something really weird. Something they should have left buried. Hidden inside of the restaurant, they discovered an old rotting animatronic suit. At first, it seemed like a great addition to the attraction. They didn't realize there was something inside of it. That animatronic suit wasn't just any relic, it was Springtrap, and inside it, William Afton himself. As we know now, that decades earlier, William Afton was trapped inside of this thing. And thus, the real fun begins, as unlike the past games, there's no multiple animatronics hunting you down. There's only going to be one, and unlike before, this animatronic isn't possessed by a child seeking revenge.
I didn't know
This
it was
one
like
is
that.
controlled by a literal serial killer, and he's really intelligent. He hides in the shadows, moves when you're not looking, and hunts you down like prey. Your only defense is sound cues.
Oh, this
and
one
a
is
failing
so
security system.
creepy.
However, this whole ordeal doesn't last long, as after 5 nights, the nightmare ends. The entire attraction burns to the ground, and with it, Springtrap is seemingly destroyed. But was it an accident?
Or so
was
we
it
thought.
intentional? As of right now, we still don't know. But in a secret minigame, the spirits of the murdered children finally find peace. Freed from their torment, they decide to finally move on. But what about Afton? The building burned, but Afton, he still survived. His
Yeah, of
nightmare was
course.
far from over. And speaking of nightmares, remember Ennard? Well, somehow Circus Baby was able to eject herself from his body. And as she pieces herself back together, she forms Scrap Baby. You know that molten creature that you see in FNAF Security Breach? Well, that was
What is
actually Ennard. But now
that?
he's Molten Freddy. Boy, this is getting confusing. But we need to go back to one more character. We have to go all the way back to the beginning of the story, but William's business partner Henry has a big part in FNAF 6. You see, it's actually Henry who's going to make all of this right. He opens up a new location under the Freddy Fazbear name, and you start the game thinking you're running a normal pizza restaurant. You design your own pizzas, buy arcade machines, and most importantly, salvage old animatronics that show up in the alleyway outside. But here's the twist. This isn't a real pizzeria, it's a trap. You're not here to serve pizza, you're here to lure something inside. And you see, after years of tragedy, Henry finally saw the truth. Freddy's was a curse, a place haunted by the souls of innocent children, and so he made a plan. He built this pizzeria as a trap, a place where all the lingering souls, Baby, the puppet, Molten Freddy,
So wait,
and
like a
William Afton
real
could be lured in and
pizzeria?
destroyed
I'm a
once
little
and for all.
lost.
And ironically, he actually ended up hiring Michael Afton as the security guard. Sadly for him, once everybody was inside, he set the building on fire. No more games, no more horror stories, only fire. And Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria burned one
But
final
that didn't
time.
work
And
last
Henry accepted his
time.
fate, going down with the building. And at the time, this provided all FNAF fans with some closure. The souls of the animatronics were finally freed. And Henry
Or
was
so
able to
we
make right
thought.
what he did so wrong in the past. And William Afton was finally out of the picture. Or was he? Spoiler alert, he always comes back.
Or
Fast
so
forward to
we
FNAF Help Wanted.
thought.
This is where things get crazy, as you're welcome to Freddy Fazbear's virtual experience, the latest and greatest cutting-edge way
Freddy
to relive all
Fazbear
the
in
terrifying stories
VR!
of Fazbear Entertainment's history. Now, this is just supposed to be a game, but things feel a little weird. At first, he's just a flicker, a glitch, but the longer you play, the closer he
Ew.
gets, until finally, it isn't just a bug anymore.
The
This thing
waving.
is in the game, and that thing is a glitch trap, a digital ghost and a fragment of William Afton, the man who refused to die. He literally
Dude,
uploaded himself as
what?
binary code into this game, and if you're not careful, he'll end up inside of you. Pause. However, that's how he ends up inside of Vanessa, who eventually becomes Vanny. The whole game he was plotting this. Now we need to fast forward even farther. And just bear with me, guys, because Scott no longer is running these games. It actually got taken over by the company Steel Wool, so there might be some plot holes. However, sometime after Help Wanted,
I didn't-
FNAF
he
Pizzaplex
sold
was
it?
created, and it sported some of the most amazing looking animatronics we've seen yet. Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica, Roxanne Wolf, and of
Oh, is
course
that one
Montgomery
Security
Gator.
Breach?
You know what's the crazy
I
thing?
think I've
These
seen a little of
animatronics
that
are also
one.
somehow possessed by Afton, except for Glamrock Freddy, as he malfunctions right when the game begins. On one particular night, a young boy named Gregory finds himself trapped inside after hours, with security systems only ally down the Glamrock Freddy. He's the only animatronic who's not hostile towards him. As you realize throughout the game that Roxanne Wolf, Montgomery Gator, Glamrock Chica have all been hacked or corrupted, relentlessly hunting him. And even
Dude.
worse, Vanny is back. But that's not even the craziest part. Deep underground in a forgotten section of the Pizzaplex, Afton is still alive in a new form, and he's called Burn Trap. Basically just a charred, decayed
Dude,
version
like,
of the
how many
Springtrap bodysuit that we
times?
saw before FNAF 6. And what a shocker, despite being burned alive multiple times, he refuses to die. And he lurks in the depths waiting for the right moment to take control once more. His influence seems to be tied to Vanny, who, as we know, is manipulated into carrying out his sinister plans. And there's actually multiple endings to this game, but the one that we decided was canon is this one. When we finally find William Afton at the bottom of the pizzeria, along with this horrific creation called the Blob, which is just a mix of all the
What?
animatronics up to this point. After a huge fight
Oh.
between our protagonist and Burn Trap, we're able to burn the entire building down, which I don't know why, because it never works. But as Glamrock Freddy and Gregory try to
That's what I'm
escape, the
saying.
Blob
You
snatches
can't
up
burn
William
down
Afton
the
once
building.
dead.
It never
If you ask me,
works.
I don't think this is the canon ending. My opinion, the canon ending is actually the Princess Quest ending. Vanny is finally freed from William Afton's control, and we take Glamrock Freddy's head with us. That's why we see a headless version of him in FNAF Security Breach Ruin. And speaking of which, this is actually the DLC for FNAF Security Breach, where we play as a young girl named Cassie, who's searching for her missing best friend, Gregory. Yep, the same one from the first game. She gets lured to this place after receiving a message from Gregory over her communicator, begging her to come find him. Finds a Vanny mask in order to explore this place a little deeper,
Okay,
and
but
uncovering
like-
new horrors along the way, including all the wrecked animatronics that Gregory left behind. As she descends deeper into the quote-unquote ruins, she discovers the truth behind the Pizzaplex's collapse. There's now an AI security system known as the MXES. Seems to be preventing her from
I
doing
feel like
something
this has
much
gone
worse, but she
too
doesn't know that
far.
until the end. Eventually, Cassie finds Gregory's location, or so she thinks. And in order to get to it, she has to shut down this MXES. But right after this thing shuts down, she realized she's been tricked, as Gregory's voice was fake the whole time. She was actually lured in by a manipulating system known as the Mimic, which she eventually sets free now that the MXES is out of the picture. This was the thing's plan the
What
whole
is
time. Come to find out,
that?
this thing actually might be more horrific than William Afton ever could be, thus revealing the new horrifying plot twist, and that's the Mimic. We get a better idea of the whole FNAF Security Breach plot when we play Help Wanted 2, which many people believe that you play as Cassie's dad throughout the entirety of the
Dude,
game.
how
It also
many
gives you a cool
Final- or
backstory of
Final Fantasy-
exactly how
Five Nights at
everything
Freddy's
happened.
games
There's
are
a crazy
there
ending
now.
that seems to tie everything together, where the same recharge station that Glamrock Freddy gets into in FNAF Security Breach pops up and a hand emerges from it. Presumably, you would think this is Cassie's hand. Her security bots seem to take you out of that vision, but when you awaken, you see a POV of you as the help bot handing Cassie the Vanny mask, which is an interesting tie by Steel Wool. I don't think it's any coincidence to prove that this is Cassie's father, as there's multiple references in the game where they talk about him having children. But let's talk about the Mimic for a second, seeing as the new game is going to literally be the secrets of the Mimic. The Mimic is a horrible creature created by Edwin Murray, who decided to create
thought
this
that was a
creature in
fan
order to look
game.
after his son since he was so busy. It was able to adapt and learn from its surroundings. But we all know things go terribly wrong, and eventually the Mimic kills everybody in sight and somehow ended up at the bottom of the Pizzaplex until Cassie released it. Which, not really her fault. She was just trying to save her best friend
Not
after all.
really.
But on
It
the
kind of
way up from
is.
the elevator, the mimic crashes it down, and now he's out in the free world. And he, in my opinion, is so much worse than William Afton. Even though William can't die, this guy is out for havoc, and he's more intelligent than anyone else around him. So I'm glad that Steel Wool actually came out with a backstory for this exact character, which is going to turn this franchise into a whole mess, but in reality, it might actually
It feels
save
like it kind of
'cause the
already
Mimic
is a whole mess.
one of
But
the most compelling characters that we've seen yet this far in FNAF.
interesting.
And trust me, this story